Evening. The regular city council for April 19, 2018 is called to order at 7:31 p.m. We have special guests tonight to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We have I'm going to say it incorrectly, Weeblos Cub Scout Pack number 490 from St. Mary Magdalene Parish and their leader, Mr. Tom Finkel, with members. I'm going to let you introduce the members, and then y'all come up. Would you like to take the mic?
Absolutely.
And introduce the boys, and they can come up as you introduce them.
Excellent. All right, guys, as I call your name, Keegan LeBlanc, Walker Schilling, Alex Calumet, Frank Finkel, and Ryan Shea.
And Tom, if you tell them what we're going to do, we're going to have the boys lead the pledge, and then what else are we going to do?
Yes. First, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then the boys will recite the Scout law, the Scout oath, and then the 12 points of the Scout law.
So, gentlemen, the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to let you take the mic.
They're loud enough.
Yeah? They can hear it here? Come around, gentlemen. Get close so that they can hear you.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty, to guide my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
Thank you so much, and I can vouch for their leader and his lovely bride personally. So thank you for being here. Great way to start our council meeting.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you. I believe there's going to be a motion to go into executive. We need to do roll call first, and then executive session.
Okay, Councilman Baudier.
Present.
Councilman Benton. Present. Councilman Hewitt is absent tonight. Councilman Johnston.
Present.
Councilman Wheeler.
Present.
Mayor Maselli.
Present.
Police Chief Walker.
Here.
Fire Chief St. Cyr.
Present.
City Attorney Burris. He's here.
He's here.
That's all.
And City CPA Linda Lulu. She's absent. Okay. And Municipal Clerk Nicole Lee is present.
Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
A motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnston, seconded by Councilman Benton. All in favor? Yay. Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. We'll go into executive session. Meeting is now resuming after executive session. We have completed roll call. I have a few mayor's comments, if you don't mind. I'm pleased to announce that the City of Harahan Sewerage Department has won the Louisiana Conference on Water Supply, Sewerage, and Industrial Waste, Inc. contest. The contest is the State Operator Association for Water and Wastewater Professionals. The entries are judged on appearance, color, odor, and clarity. So it is the output of what comes out of our sewer plant. How pure is it? How good does it look? What does it smell like? After the judging is complete, the water samples are analyzed for pH and total dissolved solids. The southeast section is comprised of Jefferson Parish, Orleans, Plaquemines Parish, and St. Bernard Parish wastewater treatment plant effluent samples. From these parishes, Harahan was judged in first place for the southeast. That is quite an accomplishment, and we're very, very happy. The city of Harahan then competed against other regional winners in the state. The city of Harahan came in second place in the state. We lost to Winsboro by 1 point. And I told our team, my competitive edge came out, and I said, we're going to win next year. So that's our goal. And I want to personally thank our Veolia, our engineer. Yes.
I bet if you go out there and take a sip of that water, you'd win.
I'm not sipping anything. So that's really good news, and I think it speaks volumes for the progress we've made over the last several years. In other good news, we've received a communication from Entergy announcing a reduction in electric bill starting in May and continuing until December 2018. The average reduction will be $4.20. There will be an additional second reduction of approximately $2 a month in September of 18. Also, in October 2018, the surcharge for storm recovery from Katrina and Rita ends, thus reducing your energy bill again by approximately $4.15. So remember these figures when you're these figures are based on your usage and your average usage. So that's good news. I'd also like to remind the citizens of a 5 mil police millage that's going to be held on Saturday, April 28th. Early voting is already underway, and it will end Saturday at 6 p.m., and I encourage everyone to exercise their right to vote. I'd also like to ask the council, we'd like to amend the agenda to make a motion to add JT and Jeff Curtis as number 1 under special presentations. Number 2 will be, number 1 will be the proclamation for Parkinson's. Number 2 is JT Curtis and Jeff Curtis. Number 3 will be Darlene Schwartz, and then number 4 will be the State of the Harahan Police Department. Can I have a motion?
What about Woods? Then we have to have.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Woods will be number 4, and the Police Department on number 5.
Okay.
Can I have a
Motion.
motion? I have a motion by Councilman Johnston, seconded by Councilman Benton. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent, no nays, and we may proceed. So I'm going to ask that we start with the proclamation. It is a proclamation for Parkinson's disease. Is Miss Sepier Fields and Miss Land here?
Miss Lane emailed this afternoon, and she said that her sister-in-law is in the hospital and may not make it, through the night, so she's not able to make it tonight, but that she said that someone will receive the proclamation in her absence.
Is anyone here to receive the proclamation?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you're here to receive?
Yes, I am. Ms. Lane contacted today to see if I could receive it. My mother-in-law, unfortunately, is suffering from Parkinson's disease at this particular moment. Ms. Lane is the coordinator for, I think, the whole state for Parkinson, and this week is National
awesome.
Parkinson Awareness Week. So Ms. Lane couldn't make it because of illness in the family. She contacted my office to see if I could receive it in her behalf.
Well, thank you for sharing that personal information too, Chief. This is a proclamation from the city of Harahan. Whereas Parkinson's disease is a chronic and progressive disorder of the brain that has debilitating effects on the patient's ability to control voluntary bodily movements, and whereas Parkinson's disease is usually characterized by tremor of the arms and legs, rigidity of the muscles, bradycardia, delay or slowness of voluntary movements, and postural instability, whereas the David Finney Foundation for Parkinson's and the Circle of Friends Support Group are educating the public and raising awareness about the manifestations of this debilitating disease, one that is estimated to affect over 1 million Americans with the average age onset of 55 years old. And whereas Parkinson's disease affects not only the life of the individual, but also their families and friends. Whereas many great events are taking place every day to better the lives of those affected by this devastating disease. Now, therefore, I, Tina Maselli, Mayor of Harahan, State of Louisiana, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2018 as Parkinson's Awareness Month.
Thank you. It is a terrible disease, folks. I said my mother-in-law is suffering right now, and she's in hospice, and it affects the family, as they stated. Thank you.
We wish your mother-in-law well. Are the Curtises here? Hi, Jeff Curtis. I asked the Curtises to come here. They are great partners with the city of Harahan, and they are members of our community, help us at the playground, and contribute a lot to Arsenault Field. We are going to be withdrawing the resolution tonight so we can rework some of the language, but I would like to just have you share with our community your experience with the city and tell us a little bit about the field and what a lot of the work that you do there.
Sure. First of all, my father got caught at the district track meet out at Tad Gormley tonight. Our boys and girls both competed. And he just called me about 15 minutes ago and said they're still running some of the races, so he's sorry that he can't be here. He was going to try to hurry and race, as crazy as his world is sometimes. I said, no, don't worry about it. Stay there. If you can get here safely, go ahead. But I think he's going to have a difficult time making it. So just a little bit about kind of where this started. And I wish he could speak, but I'm going to kind of speak for him. My grandfather, John T. Curtis Sr., and my father, John T. Curtis Jr., better known as J.T. Curtis, had a relationship with Bob Arsenault, the mayor, and I'm not exactly sure of the years, but obviously back in the 1970s. And we didn't have a place to practice our baseball team. And there was also usage of our facilities by the recreation department through gym use and so on and so forth, all the way back to the 1970s. So our baseball team began going out there in the 1970s and practicing. When my brother took over as the head baseball coach in 2000, we continued to practice all the way throughout, and we always had a cooperative agreement with the past administration. I see former Mayor Johnston is here. My brother always had a good relationship with him. Things were always trying to be improved. Just the maintenance of the field was daily, and it was always a cooperative agreement, and we always worked well together. Up until this year, some of the basketball teams with the recreation department has used our gyms on many occasions when gym space was limited due to other things being used at the recreation department. So this is not a one-way street. This is not John Curtis coming into the city of Harahan and just using, or sometimes we get accused of taking the field away from Harahan kids. That's absolutely not the case at all. Not only do we have Harahan kids on our teams, and we go from 5th grade baseball all the way up to varsity baseball, and majority of the kids that practice there are pretty much 7th grade through varsity. We have held varsity games there in the past up until the work was done. 2012, 13-ish is basically when we were there last playing games, and then up until this year was the first time that we were able to actually resume playing some games there, and we just kept it limited to freshmen and JV games. And I don't know, Mayor, if you want me to distribute this or not. I just have it. But basically, this is from our accounting office at the school. And it's just all the expenses that we've paid from August of 2007, and which was about the time where we ran our query. But obviously, it goes back a long way before that. But I got from August 2007 up until January 30th of 2013 of all the expenditures that we put into the park. I know that sometimes people don't know all the information, and that's not their fault. It just kind of is what it is. But we used to have, and it's still there actually, and it holds the football pads and tackling dummies and other equipment as a storage area, the blue kind of shed. Even though it is older, I think probably due to it being weathered from the construction. But we had our own Entergy hookup to that, and that was with Johnny through Mayor Johnston, just so there was no, I guess you would say, conflict of interest. We just paid our Entergy bill to the school to that piece of equipment instead of Harahan getting billed, sending us a bill, or anything like that. So that's also in here. But basically what I have here is about, and I didn't run a total number, but it's about $50,000, maybe $60,000 in field expenditures. And when I mean field expenditures, I mean the maintenance of the field, manicuring the grass properly, taking care of the field, the destruction and the construction of the old fencing and the construction of the new brick fencing, the netting, just everything that kind of goes around Arsenault Field. And I don't say that to, I guess, toot our own horn, but it has been said that,
And I think we have an important guest for you to introduce. You
Speak it
usually
up.
need no introduction.
speaking up, I told you he speeds, Mayor,
This is Mr. J.T.
Chief
Curtis.
Walker, hopefully.
You didn't speak with the Anthony Harahan, did you?
Yeah, made sure he slowed down. Yeah. So that's kind of where we are, and I don't mean to bring those numbers up to kind of, but that's the reality of the situation, and what we want is what's best for the city. And this has been told to Mayor Maselli, Mayor Johnson in the past, other council members. What we hope to do is not only provide our kids the best place to practice and play games, but what we hope is teams like Jesuit and Holy Cross and Brother Martin and Rummel and St. Charles Catholic, amongst many others, come to the city of Harahan. Go to the restaurants, go to the convenience stores, go to the municipal places that Harahan has, and let them see places that they may not normally see. Certainly, there are residents of Harahan that goes to those schools that I'd mentioned, but there are also a lot who do not. So I think it works best for everybody. And as we enter this cooperative agreement, we just hope that we can continue to work well together. We can continue to open our doors and our fields for the spillover, for anything that may happen with the recreation department, and we'll do whatever we can to facilitate that.
And Jeff, I'd love to have a copy of that if you don't mind.
Sure.
To keep on file. And I also would like to if you don't mind, speak to what you do for prep before and after game, the equipment that you have on the field, and basically all the labor
Right.
that you
So currently, and this was just done a few weeks ago, we had fencing at our lower school campus that we were not using. Basically, it was being stored. And talking to Stu, we said, can we go ahead and take that fencing out now that soccer is over, and we can provide a center field and a right field fence that will keep balls, keep the kids as safe as possible from traveling on to other fields, also providing a pathway between the Dixie Youth Field towards the front and the Arsenault Field, so they can walk kind of into that back corner nearest Hickory to warm up and to practice. So currently, we've provided that fencing from school, obviously at no charge to the recreation department, but it's just a way that we can continue to help facilitate this cooperative agreement. Also, the maintenance of the field, we weren't 100% happy with the way that the Army Corps of Engineers returned the field back. It was said that it would be replaced as is or better. The problem is that when the company came in to do it, there was about a 15-month lapse from the day we walked away from it, from when we were told to walk away from it, until they actually started working. So what they saw on day one when they started working was an old, decrepit, weed-infested ballpark. And so they put it back, obviously not weed-infested and old and decrepit, but they didn't put it back like what we walked away from. So it's going to take some time on our end to be able to get it back to where it was before the project commenced. And so just the sheer volume of the people that are on it, it's got to be in a situation where it's safe for the ball players to play. And when you're talking about high school, varsity, even JV, even down into the freshman ranks, balls get hit off of the bat upwards to 100 miles an hour. That's one of the biggest things that they're starting to track now. They call it exit velocity. And the ball that's coming off of a bat can reach speeds of about 100 miles an hour and anywhere between 85 and 100. So when you're talking about a ball field, it's got to be in a shape where it's not going to take bad hops, because if it takes bad hops, you got the potential for injury. So it's got to be well manicured. Heavy machinery should not be on any part of the infield. It needs to be watered and screen dragged and rake dragged, fertilized. Infield should be hand cut. So a lot of that stuff needs to take place. And Stu has been great. I think that he does about as good a job as he can with the time that he has with it. And that's why I mean a cooperative effort. I'll call Stu and say, hey, Stu, can you do such and such? And he'll be honest with me and say, Jeff, I'm not sure if I can get to that today. If you can get to it, that would be great. And if I can get over there and get it done, I'll get it done. Or he'll say, yeah, I'll take care of that. Or Stu will call me and he'll say, Jeff, I need you to take care of X, Y, and Z because I'm just kind of limited right now. If you can do that, we'll be good. So there's always been a good cooperation there, back to the past, all the way up to the current situation. So I think that's kind of.
Did you go over the quality of the grass?
I did not.
Why don't you talk to us about
The quality of the grass, basically, for anybody that's on a golf course, is basically what you would see in a golf course. It's Tifway 419 Bermuda. Grass is what we had on there originally before the Corps came in. It was put back with Bermuda grass, but it was put back with common Bermuda grass. So there's a lot of weeds that have been coming through. Also, around the months of February and March, you'll see the winter weeds start to pop through. So it needs to be maintained through proper fertilizer that will kill the winter weeds and allow the Bermuda to come back as quickly as possible. Also, the possibility of planting rye seed in the winter to make sure that the Bermuda grass stays protected, and so on and so forth is what we're looking for. And there's also a special clay and field conditioner mix that needs to take place that will hold the surface of the dirt while also allowing it to drain. If you go too much clay, the water sits, it becomes mushy. If you allow too much sand, it allows big holes and divots, which can cause bad hops, injuries, a twisted ankle or whatnot. So it's got to be a particular surface that has to be put down, and that's why it's very difficult to maintain and very difficult to procure on a constant basis.
As mayor of Harahan, I'd like to personally thank you on behalf of the residents, on behalf of the city, for everything that you've done. When we were working with the Army Corps, I remember one day I called JT at the last minute, and he came right over and helped me explain to the colonel in depth, just like you did today, about what that field required and how they needed to put that back together. So I want to thank you for being at Harahan's side to help us get that resolved and help us get to where the field once was. So we're moving in the right direction. I can tell you personally, it was wonderful when my son's first experience really pitching at that high school level was on that field, and it was the first time he really got to feel what it was like. So it's a great experience, and I think many of our residents have had similar ones. So JT, before you came in, we are going to be withdrawing the resolution for the cooperative endeavor agreement. We're going to work on some of the language with the council, with the attorney. We'll get with you, and we can probably make it a lot better as we move forward. And I really want to thank you for taking time out, rushing over from the meet.
How do we do?
Oh, there you go. All right, congratulations.
I'd like to add, not to interrupt, but I'd like to add, back in 77, 78, 79, and 80, I played on the Harahan Biddy All-Star basketball teams, and I'm telling you, we practice at John Curtis more than we practice at
And
Harahan.
people don't understand
That's going back to
Right.
B-77.
how important it is, because the city of Harahan, we have one gym. So if that gym's not available, our children don't get time in the gym, time to practice or to play.
They also would send coaches over that would help with clinics. I know they helped with that track program here. Matter of
And they
fact,
still do.
And they still do. So,
And recently, we've asked your advice on another field on getting some ideas. So you've always been there for us, and we really, really appreciate it. And we look forward to continued cooperation.
Anything we can do to help, that's what we want to do.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll get with you. Number 3, on special presentations, I believe we have Ms. Ham with wood material. Oh, I'm sorry. Come on. Oh, Darlene is 3. I'm sorry. You're getting pushed down, you know, sorry. Darlene Schwartz is 3. Thank you for correcting me.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens. I'm going to start first tonight with an award that the mayor would like to present to someone. We're keeping her away from her 2 young kids, so I promised she'd be out by 8 o'clock, and I done broke my promise. Anyhow, Miss Christine is here from Double M Feed, that's on Jefferson Highway. Everybody knows the place. That business has been in Harahan for about 16, 17 years. And they're a phenomenal place. I've been in and out of there a number of times, as I'm sure everybody else has. Bottom line, probably since I think around Hurricane Katrina, this business, Mr. Ray Sanders, has given the city, donated to the city of Harahan, beautiful Christmas trees during that time of year, and I believe also to the police department. In addition, through the years, he's donated flowers and plants and stuff to both the city and the department. And so, just as a way of saying thank you to one of our Harahan businesses, similar to what we did to the Elaine over at Ace Hardware, although they're a little out the city limits, but still take care of the city. Just as a way to say thank you to Mr. Ray and yourself for
I'd like
helping
to just
us
read
out.
what our awards presentation says. Presented to Ray Sanders, Double M Feed, with our sincere appreciation for your support and kindness to the Harahan community. Your generosity makes a very positive impact on all of our citizens. On behalf of the city, thank you very much.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you so much. All right.
Okay, thanks, Christine. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, and Ray. Right quick, and yeah, I'm back again with my drug take-back day. I love drugs. That's going to be this coming Saturday, guys, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., again, at the Rite Aid Pharmacy on Jefferson Highway, and the Harahan Police Department lobby. No questions asked, any over-the-counter stuff. Jesus, you know, on my mind. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, Nicole. Not this Saturday. The Saturday that we have to vote, April 28th. Will be National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. Please turn in anything that you have that you want to get rid of so we can dispose of it properly, okay? And this coming Saturday, Faith Lutheran is having their annual gala for $25 from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. over there on Colonial. Duck in, they'll have music, food, and cocktails, silent auctions. It's really a nice gig, so if you guys can fork up $25, go have a good time, and you'll enjoy yourself. Last but not least, we still have some delinquent property taxes. May 1st, there will be additional fees and interest that will accrue. We're trying to do our reminders to people, and please take a look at your property taxes. Make sure your 2017 property taxes have been paid to avoid any additional money you have to put out. And thanks. And again, that's on the 28th, not the 21st, for the National Prescription Drug Take Back Day. Thanks, people.
Thank you very much, Darlene. Mr. Donnelly? Thank you. Mr. Remy Donnelly is representing Sarah Woodham with Wood Materials.
Thank you all. Good evening, Mayor Maselli, Council. Very pleased to announce this tonight. Some very exciting news regarding the wood facility that they've been operating for 40-plus years. And after much hard work, they're coming to a close to completing the final phase of the new Hall Road project that we've been talking about.
Very good. Thank you. That's good news.
The final phase includes the costly endeavor of having to relocate their truck scales and their offices to physically be able to utilize the new Hall Road, because the trucks have to go through their weighing
What's the
scales.
estimated date?
We're going to have, I'll get to a little bit of that in a
Sorry.
little bit, but we're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony on May 9th. We can't predict the exact date due to weather, but the hope is that that'll be right around the same time of opening. As we all know, the new Hall Road has always been the first and foremost request and desire of the residents living near Wood Materials site and facility. And Wood Materials is very delighted to come before you and inform you all that has listened, responded, and will soon have this request completely fulfilled. We know and appreciate that it has been a very long process. There were many regulatory and permitting requirements that really proved to be much more involved and time-consuming than we had all anticipated. Way more difficult to navigate than I could even imagine. So we thank everyone for their patience and their continued interest in seeing this project through. What is the new Hall Road, you might ask, if you haven't seen it? So the new Hall Road is an entirely paved concrete road that will extend from the entrance ramps at Wood Materials facility all the way down to the river's edge, and then go across the back end of its sand pits. So they will have a complete concrete paved road. And so the paved road we see is something that's truly going above and beyond what was requested. When the residents first came to Wood Materials, it was just a request to relocate the existing Hall Road, which was made up of a concrete sand type mix with Pierce Wood would call pug mill, which I'm not familiar with the term, but that's what he calls it because that's where he gets it from. And so we did not go back with that same type of structure. We went with a complete concrete road, which was very costly. Additionally, the new Hall Road, something as well, includes a tire truck wash. So all large dump trucks that are accepting material from Woods will have to have its tires washed within the truck wash before exiting the facility, all on the paved road. So we know from the information that we've worked with the LDEQ that this paved road and this truck tire wash, along with all the other measures that Wood Materials currently undertakes and will continue to do so as needed, Wood Materials will have in place some of the most substantial measures to minimize, sand leaving a sand pit facility. It's something that Wood Materials is very proud to really announce. And so with that, what we came here most importantly to invite you all, Mayor Maselli, the council, all the residents, to a ribbon cutting ceremony for this new Hall Road on Wednesday, May 9th.
At what time?
The ceremony will commence at 4 p.m. with the actual ribbon cutting at 5 p.m. And thereafter, we'll conclude until, hopefully not too long after, but the party will go until people want to stay. We very much hope and look forward to seeing you all there and y'all being able to see this amazing and completed new Hall Road project. One other thing, in addition to this new Hall Road, so you're aware of what's going on at the facility. Wood Materials would like to announce as well that there will be a new retail area. It will be entirely within the Jefferson Parish side of the site, which you can all invited to come visit. But at this new retail facility, all of its products will be available for purchase. So you can come and purchase right up front as you come in. And this is meant to keep maybe consumer, residential type folks separate from the commercial stuff. And so we'll have a bit, keep them separate and apart. But it also will be an opportunity, which is something that Wood Materials is looking to pursue, is having educational opportunities for students that come on field trips, and they'll have teaching opportunities to show them, how we get the sand, where does it go, what's its uses for, and also to introduce to them how to compost and plant at their own home. So with that, want to thank you for your time this evening. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to be here. We really look forward to seeing you all come out to the ribbon ceremony. There will be a postcard that's going out to all that will look something like this, which will give you a date reminder of when and where the ribbon cutting ceremony is. So if you all can come out and support, we would appreciate it. Again, we thank you all for the patience in working with us through this project. It was quite a significant undertaking, and I hope everyone appreciates that. And when you see the magnitude of the road, I think you will. And so thank you for that.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Chief?
Mayor, council, viewing public, Tim Walker, Police Chief. Two presentations tonight. Give you a little history. Prior to 1990, where the police complex is next door was the post office for 70123. Around 1990, the Postal Service closed the one at 70123, which covers Harahan, Elmwood, and River Ridge, and also the one in Old Jefferson, 70121, which is down around Causeway and Jefferson Highway, and opened the new postal facility back on Citrus across from the Coca-Cola plant. Around that time, the police department moved from where the court's at on the other end of the building to the old post office. Over that period of time, it's been a lot of wear and tear. And within the last probably 5 or 6 months, we started doing some interior upgrading. And I have a presentation tonight for Mr. Ray Piccone Jr. He owns Delta Enterprises. It's a little office. He does contracting and remodeling work. He's right next to Harahan School, between Harahan School and Papa John's, a little office. But he donated labor, and I can't thank him enough for the amount of work they did upgrading our facility. And this is our appreciation to Ray Piccone Jr. and Delta Enterprises. So. Remember last year we started a Harahan Police Advisory Board to look into some of the issues that was facing the police department. The advisory board was commissioned, and Mr. Jason Brusick was the elected chairman or appointed the chairman of the advisory board, and they just finished their results. And I'm going to let Mr. Brusick take over and make the presentation.
Hello. Can you guys hear me? Yep. No? Yeah? All right, good. You never know with these things. Seriously, you never know. So, okay. I have some notes up here, and if you guys didn't see this, the dedicated, grab one of these flyers. It has some good information in it. It certainly doesn't hurt. So they're outside on the table if you want to grab one on the way out. At the outset, I want to say a lot of questions have come up about this millage. And one of the questions, first and foremost, was, holy cow, why is this being held on the 28th? And the answer is because it was an available day. We had submitted all of the information to Hugh Martin to be submitted to the bonding commission for the writing of the actual millage language, okay, for the resolution. And went through that process, came back, the deadlines fell just right so that we could utilize a day that was already selected for the sheriff's runoff. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that why the 28th? That's why. So let's go ahead and get into this. This is about the necessary adjustments to the Harahan Police Department salary structure. And I'm going to get into the 5 mills and what it actually costs here in a moment, but I think it's important to really look at what was our role. What were we supposed to do? We had a mission. We had to determine the scope of the problem, and we had to gather data first. And when I tell you we crunched a lot of numbers, we looked at every element that we possibly could across the police department. I went on a ride-along. I talked about that one day. We really looked at the police department, where they're sitting, and what they really needed. We also got a sense for the morale, okay, of the department. How is the morale? And gathering that data was essential. We had the problem: officer retention, longevity, and costs. Officer retention. We have had a substantial problem with keeping good officers right here in Harahan. That's a known problem. Everybody's seen it. Longevity. If they don't stay here very long, That means that they're leaving after just a couple of years. We are basically funding the training program for every other parish and department around town. That's our guys. That's our money. Funding them. Well, that didn't really work. That didn't make sense to me. And we also wanted to look at the cost. What would it cost to fix the problem? So ultimately we came up with, here's the solution. Recurring funds, a stable budget, and reliable information. So when you look at the real problem, what's affecting longevity, why are they leaving? It's because they haven't had a pay raise in 10 years. These guys some of them are living practically at poverty levels. And it's disturbing. We've all heard it before. Some of these guys are taking home, at or around $300 a week. And we wound up digging into these numbers and figured out, we cannot use one-time money. Can't do it. We cannot use Department of Justice asset forfeiture money. Can't do it. All of those kinds of one-time money from Paul Johnson, which we appreciate very much, has to be used on things like equipment like cars, guns, and machine guns. Has to. There are federal strings attached to DOJ money, specifically. You can't use it for salaries, and you can't plan for it. We had to come up with a plan for the money so that it is stable, it's funded, and it's long-term. So, I wanted to also take a look at a whole lot of crime statistics, because we're asking police officers to risk their lives for us. They keep us very safe. So, Louisiana leads the nation with the highest per capita murder rate. Did you know that? How many people knew that? 1, 2. I see 2 people, 3 people. Okay. The highest. We had 11.8 murders per 100,000 citizens in Louisiana. Now, Louisiana also tops the U.S. in law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty. Did you know that? How many people knew that? I see 1 hand, 2 hands. Doesn't that disturb you? Doesn't that bother you? Bothered me. We're number 1. We had 10 line of duty deaths, and when you figure that out by 50,000 officers, that's 13.2 cops killed. Right here. New Orleans is number 41 on the world's top 50 most dangerous cities list. In 2017, New Orleans had 40.1 murders per 100,000 citizens. They're 10 miles away. And we were the safest city in Louisiana. Harahan, safest city. We're 10 miles away from one of the most dangerous cities in the world. What are we asking our officers to do? As we did this analysis, we kept asking ourselves, what will it take to keep our officers here, that close to New Orleans? Well, so then we looked at, what are our cops doing right here in Harahan? The answer is their jobs. Those are actual numbers from felonies and misdemeanors. You see, misdemeanors from 2014 to 2016 went from 587 misdemeanor arrests to 1,264 misdemeanor arrests, and from 135 to 304, constituting a 100% or greater percent increase. Think about that. That's right here. Did anybody else know this? Because as we dug through these numbers, it shocked me. But they're doing their jobs, and they're doing it well. They're focusing on felonies and misdemeanors. And they're succeeding. So, to keep qualified officers, Harahan must be competitive with other jurisdictions, you think? How many folks here know that other jurisdictions pay more money? What do you think? How many people knew that? Does that shock anybody? No? Didn't shock me either. Do you know how much? That much. New Orleans pays $54,000 a year. See that little red bar? I know it's kind of hard to see, but that says $34,616. That's our starting salary. Now, bear in mind, that's before all the deductions for taxes and stuff. Think about that. Are we going to compete with New Orleans? Probably not. Should we be able to compete with Kenner, JP, Gretna, Westwego? Yeah, we should. But here's the other thing. Jefferson Parish pays an extra $40 per month per year of service. So after 10 years, they're getting $400 a month extra. And Gretna pays 2% increase every year in a longevity program. And they happen to be asking for it. I saw online at some point somebody said, oh, well, Gretna doesn't need it. They're not asking for any extra money. Yeah, they are. They're asking for 8 mills. And their vote is on the same day ours is. They're asking for 8 mills. Well, Westwego pays an extra 2% per year of service. So when you do the math, I said, how much does it cost? Who here has any idea of what training costs are? You guys know what training costs are? I see some hands. Okay. A beginning officer salary is $2,867.83 a month. Average training period is about 6 months. To make them productive, they go through whatever course they have to do. They do a ride-along, and then they get to be out on their own after about 6 months. The training course cost, including bullets and everything else, is about $5,000. In fact, almost exactly $5,000. Harahan has lost 25 officers in the last 5 years. Well, let's do some math. 2867.83, $5,000 is $22,206.98, constituting a grand total of $555,174.50 lost. That's our tax dollars gone to other departments in other parishes, other areas. We are funding their training program. That's real money, guys. And take a guess. Who here knows about something called overhead and burden on employees? How many hands do I have? Oh, I see a bunch of hands. Good. What do you think the number is if you include overhead and burden? What do you think? How about $626,610? Yeah. So there's a real cost to losing these officers. So, what do we do? What do you think? We said millage, because it's stable, we can count on it, and we know it. That's the other thing. You have to know how much money you've got coming in. It's a reliable number. So, it's dedicated to the Harahan Police Department payroll, benefits, and expenses only. How many people read the resolution? I see some hands. Good. It is dedicated solely and only to payroll, benefits, and expenses of the Harahan Police Department. So, it's recurring, it's stable, and it comes with reliable information. That is the solution we were looking for. Stable and reliable. Let's look at the costs. 5 mills. On a $200,000 assessment value, that's about $100 per year, which means it's about $8.33 a month. That's not bad. And that's money that goes to our officers. Remember, dedicated solely and only. So I've been asked, what does that mean with regards to their take-home? How is it going to affect them? Well, that requires a program. Let's take a look. It costs, this is from the assessor's website, the assessor's database for the home values here in Harahan. I says, you know, an average of $200,000, that's great, but what's the actual numbers? And you can see we actually have them. The averages across somebody's house, we're going to collect about $21,359.25 from all of the houses that are worth, under $100,000. So their average cost is going to be about $3.17 a month. let me ask you guys, is that reasonable for our police officers? Yeah? If you have a $300,000 house or more, $17 a month, is that reasonable? I think so. So, 5 mils, when we were going through the numbers, at first we were trying to figure out 9 mils, maybe 12 mils, maybe 2 mils. We wound up doing the calculation to come up with what we thought was the sweetest spot, the average, the break-even point of what we need to have, what we have to meet the numbers and make it work. We have 18 officers that are under 5 years. This is going to be important. We have 3 officers over 5 years. Because for longevity, we also are looking at 2%. 2% raise, salary adjustment, year over year, compounding. So for a basic street officer, starting at $34,616, year 1, it goes up, they get a $692 bump. Then it goes to $706, all the way up to $827.39. So they wind up at $42,196.71 if they remain a basic officer. And my question was, is it enough? Is that enough? The answer is, I don't know. I don't think so. So we're also putting together, and we have put together a program to look at the actual payroll in their pocket at the end of the day amount. And this is important. If the Harahan Police Department gets this millage, they will be able to pay for the health insurance premiums so that the officers don't have to pay it anymore. And take a look at those numbers. The one on the left, the current system, that is an actual officer's paycheck. He takes home $589.31 every other week. Oh, yeah. Who here thinks that's reasonable? Anybody? Anybody? I don't. Under the proposed system, we would pick up the health insurance, dental, and life, which would result in $885.20 take home every other week. I know, I'm seeing some shaking heads. I know, that's still low. But that combined with the longevity program of 2% year over year compounded, it starts getting to be reasonable. And it puts us right in line with every other department in the area. It really does. And Harahan will remain the safest city in Louisiana, if not the safest, darn close, while at the same time providing the community policing that we like. I like that Officer Bloom came by my house, sat down at my crawfish boil, and ate some crawfish, got to know my son. That doesn't happen in Jefferson Parish, and it certainly doesn't happen in New Orleans. I love that it happened in my house. So, is it success? If we can retain the police officers through payroll adjustments, payment of their premiums, the 2% increase, we receive police longevity. Cops start staying. And that results in a happier community, happy cops. I have asked some of the officers if they would be happy with this. The answer is yes. So, I would like to mention the advisory committee. Tim Baudier took lead, Ed Kraus, Leo Savoy, Wesley Turner, Carlo Ferreira, and myself. I was the chairman. But I'd also like to say special thanks to a young lady who's not here, Jean Marie, our own Tracy, Chief Walker, and Keith Moody in the back. And most especially, all of the men and women that serve us as police officers. Thank you. I am more than willing to take questions, if anybody has any, about the HPD Advisory Committee, our analysis, and this program.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So I might have missed something. So there's no, the raise actually comes in terms of paying the insurance premium? I miss something?
Sorry.
I was asking if
Yep.
there's not an actual pay raise, it's that
There is.
There
It-
is.
Right
okay.
there.
The 2%, right, but
Right.
other than the 2%, it's just that they're going to pay the.
They're gonna
insurance,
pick up
which
the
is a nice-
premiums.
I mean, that is,
It is. It's actually substantial. If you add up the math on the difference in the raises, the difference in just picking up the premiums, especially since premiums are increasing year over year. In fact, I have the latest from Humana, and it looks like the rates have gone up again, okay? But, and we're all aware of what's going on with healthcare. Picking up that particular issue and taking that off of their plate can add as much as $7,000 a year. So it's substantial. And I mean, just do the math on this. You're looking at about what? $147.95 a week multiplied by 52.
yeah, I'm not questioning it, I just thought maybe I missed something. I was
Oh, no,
just
it's in
trying to
there.
make it clear that I understood.
Yeah. So yes, there is an immediate raise if the millage passes. Hint, hint. If the millage passes, there will be an immediate raise. And then the long-term longevity goes on top of that. And so I'm hopeful that every single police officer that sees this, they're going to be looking at this with a breath of relief because they don't have to worry about the health care costs.
So they would get an immediate 2% as soon as the millage passes, or?
Well, it depends on their length of service. If they have been, there we are. Oh, missed it.
But it wouldn't be
There we
right
go.
away, it would be,
Okay.
it would be 2019.
Right, right,
Oh, after.
right. It comes in 19,
Ah, right,
you see.
right, okay, I got you.
Right.
Right, that's right. I wasn't thinking.
But all right. Oh, no, it doesn't affect you at all. You're, okay, yeah. Tim's just out of luck. Sorry, guys. He's screwed. He gets no money. He's an elected official. He's just out of luck. This goes to for the men and women on the streets versus this guy.
Right. Chief's salary is actually by ordinance.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, it has nothing to do with this. This is for the cops on the street. So, other questions? Have I answered all of the questions? Yes.
It's for the office personnel, police on the street, it's not just
Yep.
a patrolman on the street.
That's correct.
In the office,
That is correct.
their office, just
Yeah, they have jailers, they have administrative staff, they have secretaries. This is going to apply to everybody in the police department, whether they be somebody literally out there walking around, knocking on your door to tell you, hey, your garage door is open. It's also for the folks in the back office and the jailers that have to deal with the folks that get locked up. Secretaries, administrative personnel included. So yes, this is going to apply across all of the police department. Yes, ma'am.
What do you have to say about the fire department?
I'm not on their committee.
You don't care?
Not at all. I'm just not on the committee. I think that the fire department, and this is just me, my personal point of view, is I think they need some help too. But I don't know anything about their stats or figures or numbers, so I can't really give an opinion on them.
Can I answer real quick?
Sure.
I've been working with the chief, and so is Councilman Wheeler, who is going to take my role as a fire department with the success that we have found going back and forth to the police department.
Sure.
Carrie and I have been talking about, let's try to get that benefit behind the fire department as well. I mean, I've been actually preaching this for about probably 10 years now, and it took this committee to finally get us, a road, a path to get to success on trying to get this millage up and going. I wanted more mills. I don't think it's enough, but I got voted down on that one. But however, because of the success that we've had with the police department committee, we're really hoping that that fire department has that same success.
Well, I will commit right here, right now. I will turn over all of the analysis, the spreadsheets, the how I got there, how we got there, how Tim, the stuff that he gave me, Tracy Whittle, Ed Kraus, he did a phenomenal analysis of the payroll. Leo Savoy, where's Leo? There he is. Leo did a wonderful analysis as well, and Wesley Turner. Everybody came together. I will be more than happy, and I think we would all commit to this, right, Ed? We will all give you everything we put together.
Ms. Valenti, we did appoint a fire advisory committee. We actually had our first meeting this past Monday.
Correct.
But wouldn't it be easier if you agreed that all city employees are underpaid millage for pay increases? Why was the fire department, why were all the other, why don't we do it for a larger millage across the board? Rather than run one for the police department and then
I guess, Ms. Valenti, and this would just be my opinion on it,
that's what I'm.
to do a millage to compensate all the city employees, you would probably need maybe a 20, a 25, maybe a 30 mil increase. And I can't think a citizen in Harahan would vote for that much of increase. What's that, ma'am?
In the fire department, I mean, the police department, our biggest department.
For the city?
That's one of the most important
Yes.
departments.
Yeah.
I have children and I feel safe here, so.
We all feel safe here, and my husband was a policeman, he was shot in the line of duty. I understand what they do. But there's a lot of waste in that department, and it takes up an unbelievable amount of our entire city budget.
I would disagree with your
And I
comment
know
about
you
waste,
would.
but Ms. Valenti, you asked me about fire. We have put together a committee. We just had our first meeting Monday.
I'm
We're gonna-
asking you specifically because you were one of the ones who dismantled the budget to give the police chief more money to hire new officers to control.
We also gave the fire department more money to hire employees, and he's only been able to hire one.
Correct.
So we gave money to fire and police.
I did not know that. because
Well, so
that
let me set the record straight. We gave fire enough money to hire 2 full-time firemen. He's only been allowed to hire 1.
Correct.
You gave money.
We did. No, this is not, this, okay?
Immediately after the speed camera veto, you dismantled the budget, and Mr. Bodier walked out of here with Mr. Buddy and Mr. Breezy, and came back in and said, Chief, I will give you money to hire new officers. And that's when the budget got busted up.
Excuse me? That's all make-believe.
It is not make-believe, it's on one of the meetings.
Better get control.
Terry, you make things up, Terry.
I'm gonna ask
You
that.
make things up. Why don't you take the personality out of it and stick with facts for a change?
We're gonna let this go to
Um,
address the council and give everyone 3 minutes to speak. Can we do that?
I would be happy to, but I think there were still some more questions, and if
I'm
there's,
just-
I don't want to make sure every possible question's been answered on this. I think we've answered you. Does anybody else have any questions at all? At all? No? Thank you very, very much, and I hope that this passes.
Thank you for your presentation and your time. We will now address the council. Anyone who would like to speak to the council, please take to the podium, state your name and address. You have 3 minutes, and, hello.
I'm gonna try to stay in 3 minutes.
Go.
Brian Whittle, 508 Gordon Avenue.
Speaking to the,
Brian Whittle, 508 Gordon Avenue. I'm a reserve officer. I don't get paid, and I'm not looking to get paid. I've been around here since 2003. I've been around with many chiefs. And not saying this because the gentleman's in the room. This administration has been the best, by far. You can go back and look at anything you want to look at, as far as equipment, as far as cars, as far as officers training. The past administration, I'm not going to start bringing out old bones because there was plenty in past administrations, and we're going to leave it at that. But Chief Walker is the best chief we've had since 2003, and I'm here to tell you that. And also to touch on Mr. Jason, so when you get a grant or money allocated to you to buy a drone, machine guns, that has to be spent on that, correct?
Yes.
And it's not a recurring money, correct?
Correct.
So it would be safe to say that would be illegal to take that money and try to pay an officer.
Oh, yeah.
So-
You're going to lose the money, and then you're going to have a whole lot of trouble down the road, yeah.
Right. And again, I ride with these officers, very professional. I don't know how they do it. I tell them that. I tell them, thank you for being here. Appreciate you keeping my family safe. Also, I was at a town hall meeting a while back about the garbage, the recycling. And people jumped on a millage like that. And they brought up a good point. It's good to preserve the future for our children and all, but isn't it good to preserve the safety of our children too? So I'm just here to say, I'm gonna vote for it. I hope everybody else does. They deserve it. As far as the fire department, hopefully we can put something together for them. I was actually on one of their calls and helped out, and they need it. They need it. So hopefully they'll get it also. And thank you all for putting the committee together, and hopefully maybe you can have some input on the fire department.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Webb. Hello, Miss Majine.
Nadine Casnave, 46 Oak Avenue, Harahan, Louisiana.
Talk into the mic, please.
Can y'all hear me? This is an election on Saturday, April the 28th, but not too many people knew about it. The election is to levy a 5 mil tax on the homeowners in Harahan. This tax is dedicated to funding salaries, benefits, and expenses for the police department without defining what benefits and expenses are. No one from the police department has been advertising this election, not even a chief. When the fire department had their millage election some years ago, their chief and employees walked the streets to let the residents know about it. This tax will last 10 years and bring in $427,000 per year. The cost is based on assessments of our property and will average approximately $100 increase per home. Homes assessed at over $150,000 will pay a lot more. The police department revenue has decreased by about $400,000 since the chief's election, and this tax will bring in $427,000. Is that a coincidence? And now that he has decided to send all the revenue to Jefferson Parish, we are losing even more. So if he changed his mind about sending the revenue to Jefferson Parish and a police department revenue reversed to previous levels, we would not need this tax. Or does the chief really want to increase his budget by $800,000 a year? Thank you.
Good evening, council, mayor, citizens. My name is Tim McTee, 53 Berkeley Avenue. If you spend any time on Facebook, you might see how much negativity and talk there is in the city. If you don't, you probably just hear about it and maybe hear the snarky comments and a lot of talk that's always made. I've been meeting with some members of the Harahan Athletic Association and trying to do some things besides talk to get our community more involved, to go out and bring community within Harahan instead of always just talking about it or bickering and fighting all the time online. So I'm in the middle of planning with Harahan Association. I talked with Miss Christie and Mr. Eric the other day about doing a 5K family run that actually ends and leads to the car show on October 21st. October 20th? Excuse me, October 20th. So as we're planning and getting that ready, I just wanted to come and present that to you all in hopes that we can get some streets blocked, looking at maybe doing that up and down Colonial, down and back is almost a 5K. May have to run through some of the other streets to get there, but just wanted to present that to everyone now in efforts that we can already have that planning done ahead of time. We can continue to plan and build a nice race for the community here, get the kids involved, get those that want to walk. If they don't want to run, they can walk, and then have that end actually at the opening doors to the car show and the jambalaya cook-off. So my ask is that a possibility that I can get you guys to agree and say now that we can get those street closures and we can work on making that happen for that
I
race?
think we just put it before the council, correct, Nicole, and I think we could do that on the September agenda. Would you mind adding that? Right.
Excellent. So September is when it has to be voted on. It can't get approved before then?
Well, we could.
Okay. Perfect. Right?
We'll put it on next month, that's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, I would like to get it done as soon as possible
That's
so that we
fine.
know that it's approved, and then we don't do all the planning and then
And
something snags ahead
We
of time.
won't let that happen. So if you get it
Well,
to
I know
Nicole, she'll
things
put it on the
happen sometimes.
agenda.
Yeah. Perfect.
And if you, once you have that flyer, we're happy to put that on the website, put it on, all the social media, however we can disseminate that information.
Fantastic. I'll have that for you for the next meeting. Great. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Eric Chatelain, 700 Colonial Club Drive. I'm in favor of the police millage. You got to realize, even if we pass this millage, it's not going to go in effect till, like I said, I think 2019. At that time, hopefully we could have things worked out a little better, Everybody be a little more on the same page, trying to get things done to move the city forward. But then we're going to go back to wasted money and cleaning up the city. My dad comes and gets me the other morning and says, "Hey, you got to read this article in the newspaper. We have the cleanest sewer treatment plant in the state." Like, man, that's great. But if you drive down Wilson, you go behind the maintenance building, you go drive through Royland, the city looks like a dump. This is crazy. There's so much trash on that little neutral ground on Wilson. I noticed people started throwing other trash there. There's toys and stuff just stacked up. This is crazy. They're out there doing sewer lines in the middle of Colonial. I'm nosy. Walk out there, ask the guy, I said, "What are y'all doing?" "Oh, we're changing these connections right here. They're really not that bad, but I really don't know why we're doing it." This is employees telling me this. I'm confused. We've been having a pump on the corner of 9th and Grove, I believe. It's got to be going on 2 years. I just got to know what's going on there. I came here 2 months ago and asked, and I believe you said you'd get back to us, and maybe at one of the meetings, the city engineer could address it. I don't think he's here tonight. I wish he was so he could address this. If any of y'all could address this with me, I'd love to know. Thank God my house is not next to these pumps, because, this is a little long for this to be going on. I drive down Wilson today. There's a new diversion for something with sewer problems, which I know there's sewer problems, It just seems like everything's coming at once, and they're not finishing anything. It's crazy. Another thing, the citizens of Harahan, they drive down Colonial Club Drive. The sign says, "Road closed, detour. Through traffic, no through traffic." These people driving down, I'm trying to get out my driveway and I can't because one lane's closed, and these people are just flying through 40 miles an hour. This is crazy. They don't know what road closed means. I went around the barricade, that's the only way to get to my house. But when the lane's closed, I'm trying to back out my driveway and you got cars coming up the wrong way doing 40 miles an hour, it's dangerous. Checking my mail, cars flying past. A road closed sign means road closed. You could detour and go around. And that's just something that's hard to police. And I understand you lost for a second and you don't know, but it's the same people who live in the neighborhood. You don't need to come down 7th Street to Colonial to go to Jefferson Highway. Take a turn and go to Hickory or something. This is crazy. I understand what's going on, but after 10 times, we need to, you don't need to keep coming that way. It's just crazy.
Thank you.
And I apologize if I come off like that, telling citizens they're crazy. They just keep going around a road closed sign, but it is crazy. Thank you.
Thank you.
I called them. They come out, sat there, stopped the police. Oh, I thought somebody said, "Where's the police?" But I did call them. I called the police.
Good evening, Jason Asbell, 563 Posey Avenue. First of all, I am in favor of the police millage. I know that I have 2 young kids over in the Royland neighborhood, and I've called the police a couple times with some suspicious vehicles in the neighborhood or
people walking down the street soliciting, and they're always there within a couple of minutes, every single time. I've lived in Kenner. I've lived in Metairie. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen out there. They take their time out there, and they get there when they can. In Harahan, they're there when you call them. One time, before I was off the phone with the dispatcher, the officer was there. And I appreciate that, and I will give them what they need out of my pocket and out of my household to make sure that continues to happen for my kids. Mayor, back in January, I sent you an email, along with the other council members, an email regarding the recycling issue and that it was untidy. That was only half of the issue in the email. I appreciate that that issue has been fixed, although not the way I wanted it to be fixed. The recycling was completely gotten rid of because of budget issues. I put in my public records request to see the recycling contract, received all of that information. Apparently there was no recycling contract, so there couldn't have been because of budget issues that the recycling was extinguished. So going back to the rest of those issues in that email, since I can't really, I don't trust you to address those in person, we'll do that here tonight. The other problems at that particular location by the maintenance building, the fence was falling down, there are dirt piles everywhere, there are pipes strewn everywhere, and it looks disgusting. Now in Royland, in my neighborhood next to the park, there's 4 or 5 piles of dirt. It's nasty. You drive around the city, like Mr. Chatelain said, and it's just not looking good. That's not why I moved to Harahan. It's not why my wife's family moved here back in the 70s. They moved here because it was a nice city to grow up in and raise children, and that's what I was looking for. I'm not getting that anymore. So I would be happy to send you another email so that you can address those issues. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Tommy Buddy, 7208 Stoneley Drive, Harahan. I'm in support of the village for the police department. We get what we pay for. We've got a very fine police department. Sometimes I wonder how they do it with the resources the city's able to provide. I have experienced personally 2-minute response time. I've experienced personally an officer knocking on my door at 1 o'clock in the morning to tell me I had a garage door open. You're not going to get that anywhere else. I moved here from New Orleans about 30 years ago. Response time was who knows when. Could have been an hour or 2. Wasn't 2 minutes. We've got a fine police department. I can see it slipping away if we don't do something. This millage doesn't address the other problems the city faces, the financial issues. It's one element of many fixes that are necessary. And to compare, if you don't do it for the other departments, don't do this one, is letting the good be stopped by an imperfect solution. So I'm hoping that the citizens will support it, and we'll know soon. And I'd like to ask the council and the mayor to publicly announce tonight, now, I'm going to ask each one of you if you support it or not. I think it's important for the citizens to know if our elected officials support it.
I will be voting for it.
Absolutely.
Mayor?
I'm going to let the politics play out. I'm going to be voting my conscience, and I'll let the police chief.
Thank you for your answer, Ms. Benton.
It's private. It's a private matter.
Thank you, Ms. Benton. Ms. Wheeler?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I don't want to be the center of the rationale.
I appreciate that. I mean, you're not supporting it.
I didn't say that.
You know,
I support my
you're either support it, or by not supporting it, you're not supporting it. And I appreciate that's your independent vote, but I think it's important that we support our police department, our fire department, our other city employees. We tend to get in this world what we pay for, and nobody likes to pay taxes, myself included. I was here at this council with our former police chief and Todd when the first fire millage was passed. I supported it then actively in the community, worked with the fire department. We had our own little committee that met with Todd and the chief at the time. It cost me money. It provided us with fire protection. We're seeing that eroding. I support the efforts and appreciate the efforts of the commission that's going to address that. And hopefully we come up with a solution that works for the fire department.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Lombardi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Ream, 3 Ren Pass. Wood Materials gave a good speech here, Wood Materials attorney. But they built a new concrete haul road on March 30th, 2018. They finished it. We had some pictures from that. We spoke to the Southeast Louisiana Flood Protection Authority, East Jefferson Levee District Board today. And I asked Derek Bays, the Chief Administrative Officer, how long will it be before Wood Materials can start using the new haul road along the river? Derek said next week Wood Materials will start only using the new haul road along the river and not using the new haul road along the levee. And he's going to move his scales and his office trailer. And he told us next week. Well, Remy didn't tell us that tonight. But Wood Materials has only been using the haul road along the levee for the illegal composting facility and front end loaders and the 50 and 60 ton excavators which shakes the houses along Riverside Drive. Wood Materials engineer and attorney gave a presentation at the June 16, 2016 City of Harahan Council meeting of comments to abandon the existing haul road along the levee, planting tree curtains on openings, and planting grass for the East Jefferson Levee District to maintain. Mayor Tina Maselli asked near the end of the meeting, and near the end of their presentation, is there a plan for the current haul road? The Lanier engineer replied, when the haul road goes into place, the road will be abandoned. It will be maintained by the East Jefferson Levee District for grass cutting. Wood's attorney, Remy Donnelly, did not comment on abandoning the haul road along the levee, closing the berms, and placing a tree curtain on, and planting grass for the East Jefferson Levee District to maintain. Also, they're talking about the composting area that they set up in Jefferson Parish. Well, you know where that compost is coming from? Your backyard in Harahan, between Bailey and Haralene's, against Harahan's laws, where Tina Maselli cited them for having an illegal compost facility back there. They actually running a manufacturing plant, 2 blocks long. This is against Harahan's ordinance, and it never should have been back there. And this is supposed to be a quiet community. This is not a quiet community when they beeping and doing all kind of stuff back there and turning over this compost and smelling up Harahan. So we need to keep an eye on them. I'm very thankful that they moved that concrete haul road. They had a problem with the DEQ, and we were addressing that. We addressed that with them also. But I'm glad they moved it. I'm glad they put a concrete haul road back there. But this composting still needs to be addressed.
Thank you, Mr.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Evelyn Ream. The fact is, mulching, composting, tree dumping, and manufacturing are against the Harahan Bachelor law. The Wood Materials Louisiana Department of Agriculture and Forestry BMP permit requirement states on their permit, your facility must comply with all applicable federal, state, and local regulations and/or ordinances. Wood Materials failed to inform the Louisiana Department of Agriculture and Forestry that their compost facility is against the Harahan Bachelor ordinance. In 2010, when Paul Johnson was mayor, he informed Pierce Wood of the Harahan Bachelor law. So Pierce Wood fully knew that operating a compost facility on the Bachelor in Harahan is illegal. Mayor Tina Maselli cited Wood Materials in February 2016 for illegal composting, and instead of Wood Materials obeying the Harahan Bachelor law, Wood Materials sued the very city they operate in. The new court date for Wood Materials versus City of Harahan will be Tuesday, April the 24th at 9:30 a.m. in 24th Judicial District Court in Gretna, Division K, Judge Ellen Kovac. It will be a full trial and witnesses will testify. We spoke at the Jefferson Parish Council meeting on April 4th. After our speech, Jefferson Parish Council Paul Johnson said, he will be there on the trial, on the court date. Thank you so much, Paul, for your help and for supporting the city and the residents of Harahan. As representatives of the residents of Harahan, we would like to express how important it is for the mayor, council members, and police chief to support the Harahan Bachelor Law by attending this utmost important court date. Harahan government officials and Harahan residents need to attend court to protect the Harahan residents' property and quality of life they so much deserve. The Harahan Bachelor Law was put in place long ago to protect the Harahan residential community's quality of life and should be respected and enforced. Wood Materials can move this facility to one of their 4 other locations where it would be legal, but chooses to fight for the one location that is next to the large Harahan residential community and is protected by the Harahan Bachelor Law. We have been speaking to a lot of residents already, informing them of court trial on Tuesday. We will be out again this weekend informing the residents. Wood Materials attorney stated, we will open the retail in Jefferson Parish, but they did not state that the compost and mulch in the retail area to be sold in Jefferson Parish is illegally manufactured on the Bachelor in Harahan. We do appreciate that they came tonight. Excuse me.
Can I have a motion for 2 more minutes?
Motion.
Have a motion by
Second.
Councilman Johnson, seconded by Councilman Bodier. All in favor?
Yay.
I'm sorry.
If you just give
I
me a
did-
second, I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to go over. We
Please.
knew that
We have
about
4
this,
yeas,
but we
0
didn't know
nays.
they were going to come talk. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to take much more of your time. Wood Materials is stating, as Johnny said, we have a retail area. So when you come for the grand opening of the road, evidently there's going to be some bags of compost that you'll be able to buy while you're there on the Jefferson Parish side. But they failed to tell you you are purchasing illegal merchandise. It's illegal. They knew it was illegal before they started this. And it is terribly wrong because they were allowed to do a storm debris thing after Hurricane Isaac. They were allowed to do that. But they had a cease order to stop in November of 2012, and they ignored it, and they kept doing it, and it is humongous today. And it is unhealthy. It can breed mold spores when they turn it. It makes a lot of noise. It can cause flies. It can cause termites because there's termites in the trees when they come back here. It's terrible when you stand up and you hear such a wonderful thing. You're going to do this great thing of doing the road. It's concrete. Yes, that's great. That's great. We should all be celebrating. And tonight, the Reams should be very excited. But how can you be excited when you're going to turn around and will he give you a tour of the mulching and compost facility with a clothespin on your nose? Because that is wrong. So you're going to do something right, but then you're going to do something wrong. What sense does that make? Do the right thing all together and be a good company. Because if every company out here acted like Wood Materials, Harahan would be awful. You wouldn't even be able to go get some food without something being wrong. Well, we're sorry that it was spoiled. We're sorry your food was spoiled. You don't do that. You don't sell me food, small food to eat.
Thank you, Ms. Reed.
It doesn't make any sense. Am I the only one who does not understand it? Do y'all understand? Thank you.
And Ms. Reem, I will be there
Thank you.
in support of our
Excuse
city.
me, can I do what he just did? Will you be at the court?
I'm going to try my best.
Oh, we did, yes. Tim, will you be there? Tina, will you be
Yes,
there?
ma'am, I'll be there.
What time
9:30.
On Tuesday.
Carrie, will you be
You'll
there?
Like I'm into as plans right now, but I will do my
Yes,
best.
yes, hooray. Tim Walker, you are police chief and they're breaking the law. Please show up.
Bring your cuffs,
I didn't
chief.
mean to say please show up, but would you please show up?
Bring
Would you
your
please
cuffs.
come? Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Sorry I went over my time.
Hi, I'm Melissa Taylor at 715 Oak. I'm a mom of
7:15 what?
715 Oak. I'm a mom of 4 children in this community. I'm a homeschool mom. I'm also a certified teacher who is taking time off to raise her children at this moment. We frequently go to the Harahan playground on Colonial Club Drive, and a couple of weeks ago, after noticing the decline in the maintenance, I've just noticed over the time, the maintenance of that park is lacking in parts of it. I know that I've personally seen Stu walking around and doing all these various things, and I've seen him sweating from working so hard. However, some of the conditions in that park are deplorable. The bathrooms are disgusting. They're covered in mold. They're graffiti, there's graffiti written on the insides of the bathrooms. There's profanity written on the benches, which are underneath the rental shelters that people rent out. From what I'm told, both of them are rented out weekly, pretty much. And there's profanity written on those benches. They were rusty. They are rusty. If you go there now, they're rusty. I took pictures and I met with the mayor this past week. And of course, we came up sort of a checklist of these things that I would personally like to see for all of the children in Harahan. Who frequent that playground. I'm there a couple times a week with my kids because, I'm homeschooling, so my yard is very small. I take them to the park. The park is huge. I would like to see these things remedied. In meeting with the mayor, she has agreed to, oversee and make sure that some of these things get done. There are some bigger issues like the play equipment. The flooring is mulch, which is, I don't know if most of you know, but that is no longer, what people use if they build a new playground. That's what we have because our play yard is older. There's also a space on the other side that's empty, which used to house a play area. It no longer does. That play area was disassembled and never replaced. I would love to have the support of the council and the mayor, as well as the community, to try and look into some grants to get those play equipment updated. And get that play area on the other side, which used to be and is no longer there, a second play area, potentially an ADA, which would accommodate children with disabilities, on that side of the play area. That would be wonderful. We just had Families Helping Families move in on Hickory, and they are such an empowering group of people because they work for the people with disabilities, children, grown-ups, elderly, anybody with disabilities. And to have them down the street from a park with an ADA playground would be phenomenal for everyone in the community. People outside of the community would come to Harahan because they have that play area. We would be special because of that, because not a lot of parks have that. And so I would love the support of this council and the mayor to help Stu or other community members to come up with a plan. I would love a plan to get that play area replaced, the one that is missing, and renewed, the one that is old. And also, any other repairs that upgrades or repairs that the park may need. I have lots of friends in this area who have children, and we would all benefit, the entire community.
We will now address the council. Approval of the minutes.
Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on March 15th.
Do I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Benton, seconded by Councilman Johnston. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion is approved.
Approval of the minutes of the council meeting on March 15th.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnston, seconded by Councilman Benton. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed?
Nay.
It's 2-2, and I believe I can cast a vote with someone absent, correct? Yes? To approve?
I believe that's correct.
I always catch you on one of those.
You really do, Mayor.
No, it's just a minute.
See, if there was an abstain, if somebody would abstain, it would be.
Well, I'm pretty sure that would have been fine with it. city code just deals with ordinance, it's not amendment ordinance.
So I can, I vote to approve, so there is 3 yeas, 2 nays. The minutes are approved. Communications?
The Board of Adjustments and Appeals did not meet in March, and the Planning and Zoning Board didn't meet in April.
Ms., the resolution is being withdrawn, correct?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
You got a motion to withdraw?
It's
No,
my,
you-
my resolution. I'll make a
Vote
motion to
in,
withdraw
yeah.
resolution.
You can just withdraw.
Proposed resolution 2018-3.
Thank you. You can
Ordinances.
just withdraw because it's yours. Okay.
Right.
Then ordinances for approval.
Proposed ordinance number 2018-1. This was deferred on March 15th. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Benton and seconded by Councilman Johnson. An ordinance relating to asphalt repairs around the city of Harahan to be performed during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2018. It's highways and street maintenance, $100,000.
Before we open it to address the council, I would like to give the residents and everyone an opportunity to speak with Edwin Larsella, who is over our maintenance department. And I'm going to take this opportunity, Edwin. I have never seen someone who does, we are so blessed to have you. You know everybody in the city by name. You go into everyone's home. You pay attention to them, and I want to thank you. You do a great
Thank you,
job.
Mayor.
And he's been with the city how many years?
23 years. Thank you, Mayor. Edwin Larsell, 301 East Shannon. I am a resident. I live here amongst everybody else, so I see what's going on. And I'm on the street all the time, so I know what is happening, more or less. Right now, our ongoing construction that's going on is, they haven't started restoration yet. We have a lot to do. These piles of mud and things like that, they have to get rid of. They haven't been paid. They're not gonna get paid till it's right. I can tell you that right now. The mayor will make sure of that. You know, they're not gonna get any money until it's, believe me, we got backyards that need to be rehabbed. It's a mess right now, but it's gonna get better, you know, eventually. Asphalt streets. I'd love to do at least one street a year. We haven't been able to do too much these last couple of years. Coal mix, I've been throwing coal mix as much as I can buy it from Barrier for potholes. We have streets that are totally back, the asphalt's spent. There's no base under them, it's clay, more or less. Hebe is one of them. The whole street was here with me earlier, all the residents on Hebe. We have several streets that I have prices for as far as my engineer. Usually the parish, I usually used to get Jules Semino with the parish would come out and help me estimate. And we piggybacked on some of the parish contract. It was a lot cheaper for us. We didn't have to put it out to bids. We didn't have to hee-haw around with all, you know, different contractors, and it takes up a lot of time. Plus you gotta get an engineer involved. It's a lot of work. So that's what we used to do on the parish contract. It was a lot simpler, a lot easier, which I hope we can do.
We are
You know,
planning
I'd love to
to.
get some of these streets started. The VFW is pitiful. That's a disgrace, really. If I lived on it, I'd be raising hell. I mean, the street's gone. It's just, they're down to gravel. And like I say, with your help, maybe we can get a few dollars to where we can start, at least start on one. Some of these small streets, like Hebe's only like 60 feet long. I mean, you know, it's real small. And years ago, when Paul was mayor or whatever, we took care of a lot of dead-end streets that were neglected, like the end of Huntley, that was never, ever taken care of. It was back to gravel. They'd always do all the other streets, the most votes. You know, they do the big streets, but they wouldn't do them dead ends where they had 2 or 3 houses on them. We did a lot of those. Now, we're at the point where coal mix patch is not gonna help. I mean, you know, we can patch, but then it's $6.50 a bag. I buy a pallet of it, it's like 42 to the back pallet, and we go through it in a day.
Can you talk about your manpower too to
Yeah,
devote?
I got 3 in me. I got 3 guys in me. We're reactionary because we are 3 in me. I only have 3 guys. And we do all kinds of other work besides street work. I mean, we changing light bulbs, we unstopping toilets at the police station. In the prison, we shove a whole roll of toilet, or 2 or 3 rolls of toilet paper. You know, the maintenance crew that I have is really well. I mean, they're here every day and they do their job. But like I say, it's more or less on a as it comes in, we try to take care of as it hits us. I can't plan ahead. I can't say, okay, look, we're gonna do this, this, and this 2 weeks from now. There's no way. You know, that's my problem. I'd like to get some money. Any of your help? I go to Paul. I'll ask Paul, see if he can give me a hand. Look at him hiding. But we need to do something with our streets. You know, especially the bad streets. I mean, the ones that are really good. Pradoff, that, you know, back in that area back there, has never been touched. We did Bailey years ago, and it's already suffering base failure. Where the school buses park, it's all rolled up. It's a mess. On the other side of the street, now before we were doing most of the streets, we'd get 2 or 3 a year where we could recondition them, you know, go through. Believe it or not, Carlo Ferrara, years ago, people cursed him for doing a slurry seal on the streets of Harahan. That was the best thing you ever did. Was that slurry. And people gave him problems of it, saying, oh, he's just pouring oil or paint in the streets. But he was also sealing them. So that saved those streets, believe me, for at least 10 years they lasted. In fact, my street still had slurry on it. So, you know, to me, slurry works fine to a certain point. And then, you know, it'll clear the cracks and things like that, the alligator. Water's our enemy as far as asphalt streets. You get water standing on an asphalt street, it's over with. You know, it's gonna go. But anyway, that's my
Edwin,
deal.
do you mind staying for council discussion after
Sure.
we open it up to the public? I know you've stayed long, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I like it.
We will now open to address the council. Anybody wishing to come up and speak?
Eric Chatelain, 700 Colonial Club Drive. You have a lot of streets in Harahan, like Mr. Edwin was saying, that needs to be addressed. Problem is, we need to make sure they're addressed properly. During my administration, when I sat up there, we had streets that were repaired and replaced. As far as I'm concerned, they did a horrible job. Sorry. Wish I could have did more. So whenever these streets are addressed, we need to make sure it's done by quality, professional people. We're going to spend this money. I'd rather spend a little more and make sure it's done properly. I'll be honest, I mean, it's always not the cheapest bid. When you get the cheapest bid, you normally get the cheapest work. You got to try to make sure someone oversees this. Mr. Edwin's very knowledgeable. When he sees him doing something wrong, he needs to come to the mayor, and the mayor needs to hold these people accountable. I mean, I know there's contracts going on right now. I don't believe people are being held accountable. And it's not necessarily something she doesn't know. She needs to depend on her team to come in here and tell her they're not doing this right. You know, if I had a medical question, I'm going to medical profession. If I have a plumbing problem, you go to a plumbing. She has people on her team who know these answers. She needs to depend on them to come to her and tell her they're not doing this right. There's a lot of engineers working through this administration who are getting paid very good money. I'm not saying they're doing their job. That's me, my opinion. You do this street, you need to have them engineers out there making sure they do their job. You have other issues going on, they're not doing their job. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no one else, we will address the council.
Tommy Buddy, Stoneleigh Drive. I have a question. The ordinance reads to,
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Thank you. I have a question. The ordinance reads that we're increasing the budget by 100,000. That's pretty clear. The attachment would seem to indicate that the budget is currently 170,000.
Correct.
So the amended budget will be 270,000 if
Correct.
the ordinance passes.
If it passes.
Thank
Correct.
We will now address the council. Council discussion.
Sure, I do have something. Currently in the budget, we have it marked on the maintenance department for $12,000 on street repairs and maintenance right now. Do we have anything showing where we're at with that 12,000? How much we spent so far? Where are we at? Because the streets, I have no problem with this. The extra money that you're looking for, if we didn't go through the 12,000 already.
We are, I wish I would have had the question before because I would have told you the most current number. But Edwin, if you can just speak to how much we're spending just on coal mix and things. You want to come on up? And recently, you've just gone through how many? I mean, we are.
Yeah, I've gone through like 7 pallets in the last 2 months.
And that's only the last 2 months.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bag, it's like 1 square foot. I mean, it doesn't do much. It's $6.50 a bag.
Right.
We've
So-
also bought some rock, limestone, things like that. Yeah. I don't think we've gone through quite 12,000.
Right, right. That's what
We'll get there.
that's what I'm trying to get
I
at
can
right
do
there.
that
Right.
quick.
Yeah.
You know, but no, we haven't spent that.
The
total
whole
budget.
thing.
Right.
Yeah. We're working on it though. We will work on it.
Oh yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah. I haven't done any cement work yet either. And a lot of times we do a little patchwork on cement, and I've been buying bags from Home Depot. We can't store it because it doesn't store.
Right.
You know, I used to go to Quick Creek and buy it, and we'd have a pallet, but by the time we got halfway through it,
I'll be
it'd
back.
on
Right.
fire.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I don't think we spend 12,000.
Right, yeah.
We will.
Right. You will, but
We're not even halfway through
I understand
the
what you're saying. Right. Yeah.
We'll knock it out.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you, Edwin. Any other council
Well,
discussion?
with that being said, it's since he's probably only through about half to 12,000, I would actually like to make a motion to change up the section 1 and also the dollar amount. I had received a Excel's, I guess, spreadsheet from the engineer earlier, and he says roughly to take care of Hebe and Elodie, which are the 2 streets that are the main ones in here, is going to be about 81,000. So in section 1, I would like to motion to delete the last sentence.
Just give me a moment.
Sure. It's Hebe and Elodie.
I know. Here we go. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So yeah, I would like to make a motion to take off the last sentence on section 1, which says additional asphalt repairs at other miscellaneous locations throughout the city also to be repaired. I'd like to motion to delete that.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnson to delete the last sentence in section 1. Seconded by Councilman Bodier. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 3 yeas, 1 nay, 1 abstain.
And
Motion
then
passes.
I would like to make another motion to
Absent,
change
thank
to change on line 21, increase by 100,000 to increase by 81,000.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnson to change line 21 to increase by 81,000, seconded by Councilman Bodier. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed?
Nay.
2 nays. I have 2 yeas, 2 nays. Now I can vote?
No.
On an ordinance, I may. I vote yay. Okay. Oh, you're confirming. Thank you. I probably could go run in my office.
Yeah, Mayor, this is just the motion for the amendments?
Yes.
Okay, this
Yep.
is just for the amendments. This is not adopting it, this is just the motion for the amendments.
No, this
it's
is
just
for the amendments.
Okay, here's what's in section 262-63. Vote of the presiding officer. The mayor shall not vote on any questions on which the vote is taken by yea.
Can you, they're asking for you to speak in the mic.
The mayor shall not vote on any questions on which the vote is taken by yeas or nays unless to break a tie. However, the mayor shall not vote to break a tie amongst the city council in the enactment of an ordinance. In his absence, the mayor pro tempore may vote on any question on which the vote is taken by yeas and nays. So, the mayor shall not vote to break a tie amongst the city council in the enactment of an ordinance. Well, this is the enactment
See,
of...
the motion, the amendment.
This is a
But
motion.
then I thought I'm just asking to clarify that it reads further,
No,
something about if someone was
no.
absent.
In his absence, the mayor pro tem may vote on any questions on which the vote is taken by yeas or nays. Because the mayor pro tem is already a councilman.
I thought,
But
okay. But
the
I can
ordinance
vote on the
reads, the
motion.
mayor shall not vote on any questions on which the vote is taken by yeas or nays unless to break a tie. However, the mayor shall not vote to break a tie amongst the city council in the enactment of an ordinance. So apparently you can vote on anything that's short of an enactment of an ordinance.
There you go.
You can break the tie on an amendment to an ordinance, but you can't vote on the enactment of an ordinance if there's a tie.
So on the amendment, I vote nay to amend. So there's two, what?
Yeah, you voted
Three
yea,
nays.
second.
I accidentally said it the wrong way. Sorry, it's 2 yeas, 3 nays. The amendment does not pass and it stays increased at 81,000. I mean, at 100,000.
So it's staying at 100?
Yeah. Do I have a motion?
Do we want to still continue council discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the only concern I have is, and Mr. Buddy, you brought this up as a good point. We have a run sheet that says it would increase by 270. However, the last set of numbers this council received was as of November 2017. How do we know exactly what is in the capital before we can allocate more money for expenses? So I'm not saying the repairs are needed, but until I get updated numbers to see that the money is there, I will not be approving
I
this
believe
ordinance.
Linda gave spreadsheets to
As of
everybody.
November 2017.
But the capital budget should be the same.
And as we
That-
discussed it,
that
I'm
we
not
voted
doubting,
on.
I'm not
Right.
doubting
But
that
there's
there's no,
not been anything on the capital budget.
well, I'd like to see that before I vote on it. Again, that's just
So
mine.
do we have a motion to defer? Can I have a motion to
You can
defer?
call, I mean, y'all can.
I'd rather have a motion to defer and see if we can do something at this dollar amount, because I can't support the full 100,000. So I would motion to defer until we get more information from
How
Linda.
about to the next city council meeting?
Sure.
I have a motion to defer this ordinance to the next city council meeting by Councilman Johnston, seconded by
I'll second it.
Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Ordinance is deferred.
Mayor, can you please address with Ms. Linda Lulu to please get this council updated run sheets before the next council meeting, please?
I'll talk to her about it. Ordinance 2018-3.
So I guess that's an. She's here?
2018-3, the following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Wheeler and seconded by Councilman. Who would like to second this one?
I'll second.
Vote yea. This is an ordinance to amend ordinance number 1841, the annual budget of revenue and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2018, for the Police Department of the City of Harahan, Louisiana.
The public hearing is now open. Anyone who would like to address the ordinance?
Tim Walker, Harahan Police Chief. This is the transfer of money that was received from the parish into our capital account. So it should be an easy.
Any other address, anyone else wishing to address the council? We will now close address the council. Council discussion.
Just everything's, y'all made sure with all the lines,
Yeah,
everything's.
this is, I think, this was suggested by Ms. Lulu. This is money that the parish is providing to purchase a new vehicle. Y'all just have to do this. Tracy, would you mind just addressing this? This is for the PO for the vehicle, correct?
Actually, Miss Lulu didn't suggest the ordinance. We were
Okay.
told that anytime we had a revenue that came in,
By resolution, right?
we accepted it by resolution usually, but then we also, to get credit for it initially on our budget, it had to be accepted by an ordinance. So opposed to doing a resolution and then an ordinance, we just did the ordinance. And we just, skipped that first step. That's all we did
So
this
these are
time.
funds directly from the parish?
They're
Y'all
from the
submit
parish.
PO to the parish, and the parish pays
We
for the
actu-
purchase?
Yes.
Correct, okay, for the vehicle.
And that's all it is. It's accepting the revenue from Jefferson Parish, from Mr. Paul Johnson. Thank you. And we increased the line that we had to issue the purchase order from. And that's all it is. It's a wash.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to proceed with the vote?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnson, seconded by Councilman Benton. All in favor of the ordinance?
Yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Ordinance passes. Old business is
There are
none.
no ordinances for introduction.
Oh, sorry.
No old business. New business number 1, the Ramelli contract, trash pickup issues, community recycling, etc. This was deferred on March 15th.
I had brought this up at the last meeting, not realizing the mayor wasn't going to be present, that I've had some citizens contact me if their trash is not picked up, who do they call? They said they contacted City Hall, spoke to someone, and City Hall advised them, you need to contact Ramelli with your issue. And I mean, if this is a service we provide, I just didn't think the citizens should be contacting the provider. They said they did contact Ramelli to no avail, not even a return phone call. So I put this under new business to address, so if citizens' trash doesn't get picked up, they know the procedures of what City Hall and what needs to be done. And then Mayor, I'd like you to address the issue about the community recycling. The flyer that was provided by Ramelli said that there would be community recycling bins at certain locations, and we understand that now those bins are gone. But I believe that was a service that Ramelli was doing for free. So if you can address those issues.
Trash pickup, I ask anyone who has a complaint to please forward it to City Hall. We need to know your name, your address, so we can follow up and find out. Because any complaints we log, we track. We want to know. Anyone who calls and needs assistance, if their trash doesn't get picked up, we'll make a phone call. If there are occasions when someone will say, need a late pickup, there are ways to contact. Sometimes the resident says, hey, what's their number? We help them. Do you want me to help you call? I'll call for you. Whatever needs to be done is done. I have talked to the staff. We have reiterated that we are full court press for our residents, but to do anything that you need, we just need to know where the problem was, who, what, and the exact address. Is it a repeated problem? Is there a problem because there are someone that is handicapped? Is it something that the timing was off on the truck, etc.? So in order to service the community better, we need more information. To have generally someone say, oh, I've received complaints without any details, doesn't really kind of help us because we can't help the individual. So I've asked everyone to please forward information to us. We also have a place on the website, which everyone is starting to utilize more and more and more, and it's wonderful, under report a concern. As soon as those reports come in, and there's even a tickler on for any garbage issues, just go onto the website. If you don't get a response back, call back. I have talked to our people at the front office, and I have listened to their conversations. I have sat there and listened when they don't even know I'm watching and listening. I have never heard them not help a resident go full court press. The other thing about...
So Mayor, so if somebody calls with a complaint, let's say it's not a trash pickup, y'all log it. Do y'all report the info to Ramelli?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And recycling. I will reiterate this, and the recycling issue is one that we don't have an ordinance. That's as simple as it is. We cannot pass on a fee to residents to do curbside recycling without an ordinance approval of the council. 2 ordinances went before the council that did not get voted on. That's as simple as it is. We had a the the progressive contract stopped March 2017. We had a budget in place for the entire year. There are charges that were going on that water bill. When we couldn't do curbside recycling because there's no ordinance, those charges came off. Basically, there was no fee. We were subsidizing, we still are subsidizing garbage pickup in the city. So what we collect on fees is not what the garbage costs. It costs more. But because of the savings, we're in the hole less. During that transition, in order to get that curbside before the council, the vote on the council, we had community recycle bins. When those votes could no longer go forward, there were no more community recycle bins. Those bins were a cost to the city. It wasn't a cost.
You said
Wait.
You said the service was free. Do not gavel me. You said the service was free. So the bins are there and now they're gone?
I take exception.
Oh, of course you do.
Because when you take words out of context and you don't listen to the whole explanation, it was that the curbside was a charge. There was no more charge. You weren't going to see any additional charge.
It was free to the citizens.
Right.
It was correct. That was the community recycling.
But not to the city.
The city paid Romelli to have those.
Where was the contract?
How could the city pay, wait, how could the city pay Romelli?
Where was the contract?
Yeah, where's the contract?
Where was the money? What was the ordinance?
How could the city pay for recycling?
It was within the garbage contract to do the community bins. And come this year, that money was no longer available.
It's nowhere in that contract.
So St. Rita's Dad
Mayor,
Club
under new business,
permission.
can't this be open to public
No.
discussion?
No,
Why can't it?
we already did it.
Well, we got.
No, well, that was council.
We have addressed the council, it's coming right behind you.
Well, no,
I know.
I'd like to address this issue right
We're
now.
going to address the council in a moment.
No problem. For those who want to address the Romelli issue, we'll bring it up and address the council. I don't know why we can't do it now, but okay.
St. Rita's Dad Club, Nicole.
St. Rita's Dads Club respectfully requests permission to sell beer at the 5th Annual St. Rita's Dads Club Crawfish Cook-Off on Saturday, May 19th from 4 p.m. until 10 p.m. and to also block Berg Street from Imperial Woods Drive to Ray-Van Avenue during the hours of operation, which is 9 a.m. until 11 p.m.
Chief, have the arrangements been passed by you? Is everything good?
The detail for the police has been put together, and we have no problem with blocking off the street as we usually do each year. It's up to the council to approve it. We have no objection.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to permit?
Motion.
Grant permission. I have a motion by Councilman Johnson, seconded by Councilman Bodier. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Permission is granted. Now we are open to address the council.
Eric Chatelain, 700 Colonial Club Drive. The Romelli contract. I've sat through numerous meetings where they said recycling was free. I could have misunderstood it in the back, but recycling was free.
Community recycling.
So community recycling is free. If Romelli is giving us community recycling for free, is that logged in as income, a donation to the city? When someone donates bulletproof vests to the police department, it goes to their budget as income. I'm just asking, I mean, we could ask Ms. Lulu. I don't know how that works. I'm just confused. If it's free, if we pay for it, if it is free, do we log it in as a donation? You know, I don't know how that works, so I'm up here asking a question if the mayor could assist me in any way instead of just looking away.
It's addressed to council.
Well, and you see, that's why she moved it to address the council, because if y'all came up on a new business, she would have to answer y'all's questions. So by putting it on address to council, she doesn't have to answer you. That's exactly why she did it. There was
So-
no reason not to let y'all get up and address it at that time.
So I'm just asking the question. The
She's not gonna
public, the
answer you.
public's aware of my question.
Sure.
And I'm gonna make the public aware of another thing. I've had meetings with this mayor. We've talked about things. She tells me we've never had that. That was never discussed. I'm telling you right now, I will not talk to this mayor without a recording. Here we're recording. I'm trying to ask her a question. She can't answer me. If we meet in public, if I ever meet with her in private, when I start the conversation, I'm saying, Mayor, can we record this conversation? I'm hoping she's going to say yes. I'd love to work with her. I'd love to help the city move forward. I just don't understand how I can't get answers. And then when we do get answers and we talk about stuff, we come back and we don't remember that conversation. That didn't happen. That's not the way I recall it. So I'm going to try to record my conversations with the mayor. I hope she's not offended. I'll make her aware that it's going to be recorded. Because I feel like me, as a citizen of Harahan, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I help do a lot of things. If someone needs help around here, I will help do it. I mean, I work with the playground. I work with the schools. Anything I can help do around here. I work with the mayor, believe it or not. She needs help, I'll help her do something. But when you're sitting there and you're running into a concrete wall every time you're trying to help something, you get frustrated, you know? And I get loud and I get excited because I've never have been willing to help someone and get turned down and make it so hard for citizens to come help do things. It's just unbelievable. You know? So I'm here just addressing and talking and voicing my opinion. You know, and they got people in the audience probably saying, Mr. Chatelain, don't shut up. I don't care. I'm here. Laugh because you're thinking it. But I'm here because I'm willing to help the citizens. If there's something I can help the citizens with, let me know. If it entails me having a conversation with the mayor, I'm going to ask if I can record it. She tells me no, the conversation's over. Thank you.
Councilman Chatelain, Ms. Chatelain, can you hold just 1 second? Can we have a motion for 2 more minutes? I just have one question for you.
I have a motion for 2 more minutes by Councilman Bodier, seconded by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
The lady
Any
on Oak-
opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent, motion passes.
The lady on Oak said earlier that that we would be a very special community if we were able to get a play set for disability children to come play on. I distinctly know that we have talked about this and there was something in place, and I just want you to discuss it just real quick.
I don't know the exact date. Some other members of the Harahan Athletic Association will know the exact dates. We've met with the mayor when she first took office. We were in the process of working with someone from the state, and we had a play set coming to the playground. You know, a private individually was funding, I don't know the exact numbers, 20-something thousand. The state was funding 60,000 or somewhere around there. I don't know exactly, but it was an $80,000 play set. We met with the mayor, me, 3 other ladies, and we had this conversation, and the mayor said, basically out of her mouth, we're wasting our time. She has something in the work. This is one thing she said she don't remember in the meeting, but she basically told us we're wasting our time, and that, so we trashed it. Like that's running into a concrete wall.
So when it wasn't.
So I would think she has something in the works. So 3 years later, we still don't have a play set. I'm trying. That's all I can say.
And it was a handicap accessible?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jason Asbill, 563 Posey, 573 Posey, excuse me. 563 is my in-laws. Terrible neighbors. No, kidding. Earlier, I made a comment that, and I heard some guffaws from the left side of the gallery. The mayor squirmed in her seat a little bit, and I said, I don't trust the mayor. Let me tell you why I don't trust the mayor. It's exactly for the reason you just saw. She talks out the side of her mouth sometimes. It's ridiculous. So back in January, I had a meeting with the mayor, just the mayor and I in her office, on the phone as well, and she told me that community recycling was free of charge. A couple months go by, the recycling's gone. She holds a town hall meeting. She tells me, Jason, I did not say that. It's on a recording. Mr. Brusick has it on the recordings. Jason, I did not say that. Nothing is free. That's exactly what she said. Nothing is free. Well, back, I don't know, whenever the Romelli contract was first signed, she advertised in the council meeting on the recording that free community recycling be offered at several drop-off points throughout the city. Tonight, just in one meeting, you've heard her say free. You've heard her say it was in the contract. You can look on the budget, and there's a substantial line item for recycling in the budget. I don't understand what the issue is, Mayor. It's simply got to be free, or it's in the contract. I can tell you it's not in the contract. If it's in the contract, Mr. Burris, your city attorney, did not provide me with a proper public records request response because it was not in the contract that he sent over. It's not in the contract that's published online. So if it's in the contract, where's the contract? Let's see the contract, and then let's hold Mr. Romelli to the contract. I will say on trash pickup, Romelli has done a fine job at my home on trash pickup. They will pick up anything and everything that I put out at the curb. I had one problem with a neighbor down the street. They had some pallets on the street. They were too far from the curb. I called them. They said they were too far from the curb. So I went out there personally myself and moved them close to the curb. They came back that afternoon and picked them up. They're great with the trash pickup. What's the deal with community recycling? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tina Estee Hunter. I live at 54 West Imperial Drive. I have lived here for 50 years, and I'm sure y'all all know my parents, Eddie and Yvonne Estee, my brother Dennis. We have committed, I shouldn't say committed, been involved in the community for years. Now, my kids have grown. I have my grandkids there. I'm back involved in the program. I am the treasurer of the Harahan Athletic Association. And I do want to say a lot about this man, and I'll probably start crying, that this is the first time I really got to work with Eric. I've been on the board since 2016, and he truly cares about the citizens and the children of this community, and I would say all children. And we did have a meeting with the mayor, and we did propose to have a handicap play set for the kids. We had a donation, and from what I'm just finding out back there, we had somebody's mother-in-law that was going to donate the other $20,000 to fund it. We did meet with the mayor, and we had some discussions, and she had something in the works and kind of told us, hey, look, you're wasting your time. I have this under control. And now we're hearing different words. There's always two sides of the story, like he says. Start tape recording the conversation. But I don't have nothing to lose from anything. I don't have no reason to lie. And it kind of upsets me when somebody says that conversation has never happened. We had some citizens of the community that came and wanted to have a meeting. We had a meeting, I think it was April the 16th, and they came and they voiced some opinions, and we talked about that. Well, the mayor showed up at the meeting, and when this subject was brought up about the swing set, of course it got a little heated, and I've never seen, and maybe I was wrong, I've never seen this man get so upset and red that I think he was crying, because there's passion in there. We lost that opportunity for these kids. The Carvises back there has a grandson, and his name, I don't know how to say his name right, Wyatt. And he came and played ball at the playground a couple of years ago, and he was on my grandson's team. And of course, my grandson gets the ball, and my grandson hasn't been around these people with special needs, wheelchair. My grandson gave the ball to him and got him to throw it in. Do you know how proud I was? Okay, that's what we're about. You know, we go to breakfast with Santa, and there's my grandson, and there's Dryad, and my grandson says, let's go to the reindeers. But wait, I gotta wait for my buddy, Dryad. Cherie went, oh no, she was so excited to see that this little boy cared. That's what we're about. We just purchased a new picnic table. 2 wheelchairs can fit in there. You know, we have to stop all this bickering. We have to start telling the truth. And can I have a motion for?
Motion, 2 more minutes.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnson, seconded by Councilman Bodier. All in favor? Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 0 nays,
And that conversation happened. I just want to say that for the record. And I'm nervous up here, as y'all can tell. I don't like to do these kind of things. I'm kind of quiet, but I just felt like I'm tired of hearing that the conversation never happened and we lost the opportunity. So we're reaching out now. We're reaching out to see if we can get that grant back, to see if we can find somebody else that's willing to donate the money to help these kids. And not only do we have kids coming out there with special needs, we're having grandparents coming out there with special needs. And one day, we all might be in that situation and we want to go see our kids. So we have to get that playground up so that everybody can enjoy it. And I'm going to vote for the millage like I think everybody should.
Thank you.
You know, I know all departments need it. I was kind of upset to hear that there's some people calling there's some waste in that department, but I know for a fact there's some waste in all the city departments. You know, so, and just good luck and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Terry Valenti, 191 Colonial Club Drive. I would like to say I am wearing the support ribbon for the police. I do support the police. My husband was a policeman. When my husband passed away, a wonderful, wonderful deputy from our police force was first at my house and took over trying to revive my husband from me until the fire department got there and took over, until the EMS got there. And I would love nothing more than to see that officer get a pay raise to take home to his family. However, it is not that simple. We have need for all of our departments for raises. And if we're gonna go and ask for a millage, we should ask one time, because trust me, if this one passes, they're not gonna vote for the fire department, for one. And that doesn't even address the other city employees, like Mr. Larcell, people that also need raises. But I would just, since we're talking about this other thing, I'm sorry I went off, but the mayor is not speaking out of two sides of her mouth. She very clearly just said, and it was recorded, you can go back and watch it, as it has been before. It was free to the citizens. When she said it was free, she was talking about to us. It was provided to the citizens for free. She was not using the word free in terms of the contract. And many of the citizens understand that and understand that the whole realm of the garbage contract has been politicized and vitriol has been spewed at this mayor when the past mayor was charging us without even having an ordinance allowing him to do it. She's just trying to do what is right, and if these council members want us to have recycling, and I'm very happy to hear that recycling is a passionate issue in our city. We should be recycling. That's why the citizens are trying to get it together on our own and bypass all the political division that has been made. And the interaction that you just heard between Mr. Chatelain and Mr. Baudier are from the person who ran against the mayor and lost, and the person who intends to run against her this time and will lose. Thank you.
Hold on, Mr.
I figure y'all
Peruzza.
aren't done hearing me yet.
Okay,
Yeah,
go.
everybody just loves to hear me talk, right? Right? Just obviously not. Okay. I want to remind everybody, A, early voting is on right now. So if you support this millage, please, please, please go vote. If you don't, early voting starts next month, and I think that voting day is sometime in May. Okay? More seriously, thank you. I appreciate that. More seriously, with regards to these comments that we're hearing right now about, oh, we should just do one large millage. Well, the problem is the chief is responsible for his budget. He's got to submit it to them. It doesn't go the other way. He compiles his budget and submits it to them. And so he needs to be able to count on a certain amount of money that we can utilize for the payroll and salary raises and payroll adjustments over time. You got to remember, the entire city budget, it's not one big lump sum of money that they get to just cut and divvy up consistently. In fact, that's what half of the battle was last year at the end of the year when the mayor kept trying to say that half the chief's money that was left over was hers. That just creates strife and division. You want to settle that down. You set aside, you identify 5 mills, you identify the budget that he puts together and submits to them, it gets passed, it becomes his. He gets to do with it what he chooses after that. The dedication of the 5 mills and the language of that resolution is crystal clear that that can only be used for payroll, benefits, and expenses of the HPD. That's why it was written that way. So, with all due respect to the idea that we should just do one, I don't know, large millage package for the entire city, that's just misguided. The police department's different because it has an elected police chief that is responsible for the budget. So thank you very much, and I hope everybody goes and votes, vote soon, and I hope this passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now close address the council. Secretary's report.
The total revenues for March, $559,073.82.
Reports, Chief Walker.
Statistics for the Harahan Police Department for March 2018. We answered 646 calls for service. We handled 11 auto accidents. 59 citations were issued for 86 charges. We had 17 patrol requests, 11 narcotics arrests, the 20 charges, narcotic charges, 11 were felony, 9 were misdemeanor. Other arrests were 49. There were 98 charges, which were 10 felonies, 66 misdemeanors, 4 city, 18 traffic. There were no murders, no rapes, no robberies. We had 2 residential burglaries, 1 non-residential burglary, no attempted burglary, 1 auto theft, no attempted auto thefts, 5 larceny thefts, and 5 assaults. Please join me in voting for the 5 mills for the police department for the needed pay adjustment. Thank you.
Chief St. Cyr is not here. Councilman Hewitt's not here. Councilman Johnston.
Sure. I just wanted to bring up about the crawfish cook-off at St. Rita on May 19th. I stole your thunder? I'm sorry. On May 19th. Their pre-sales are available now. They're $20 for 13 and over, $10 for 6 to 12, and free for anything below that. The day of, it's going to be $25 for 13 plus, $15 for 6 to 12. And of course, below is free also. I don't have one on me now. I'll get you one now.
I'll put it on the website.
Yeah, no problem. And that's going to be the May 19th from 4 to 9 p.m. That's it. Thank you.
Can I just add into that too? If you would like to sponsor a team to boil, it's $400 and it's a 5-member team. Oh, $350.
$350,
Oh, I thought it was
yeah.
$400, I'm
No,
sorry.
$350.
And right, you can get the forms from school at St. Rita, or you can contact the school at 737-2915.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Gotcha.
Councilman Bodier.
Councilman Chatelain, Mr. Chatelain, even though Ms. Valenti says I can't talk to you anymore, I'm still gonna. I know you do a lot for this community, and we appreciate it very much so. I do agree with Ms. Valenti in a sense that trying to take it, I understand her philosophy of trying to take this millage in a big chunk and let's try to provide it, let's try to spread it amongst every department and try to make one go at it. But where I disagree is that there's an old saying that says, how do you eat an elephant? And that's one bite at a time. And I believe that if we can take these millages, because I do believe that Harahan citizens do need to play more of a part in the community, but I think that if you can take them one at a time, you can definitely be more transparent in that millage and what it's going for. People get fearful when they don't understand things, and they'll tend to not vote for them, just like I would. But when you give them so much, you make it hard and cumbersome for them to understand it, and they'll tend to vote against it. I say we take it one step at a time. Councilman Benton made a great assessment when she said, you know, I think that recycling should go before the people. I mean, it was just a great idea, and I say next after this, why don't we put 1 mill in place? Let's put a mill in place and let's bring recycling back in if that's what we choose to do, and let the people vote on it. And then we'll dedicate that mill to recycling, and as you do that, you educate people one at a time instead of overwhelming them. I have not said anything tonight about me running for mayor. You did, thank you. However, this is not tonight about me running for mayor. This is about the police millage. These police officers need this money desperately. It costs us so much every time we lose one of these police officers. And I've heard from my entire tenure of 10 years of being up here that this is a bedroom community. And to me, honestly, nothing defines a bedroom community more than a police officer starting and finishing his career here. Like Mr. Brusick said, you know, his son actually approached the police officer at the Crawfish Bowl, and they all hung out. And I think that's so crucial as our children grow older. And I have 4 children that live here with myself. I'm trying to move my brother and his young child in here. I have another brother here. My father lives here. And I want to be able to run to that police officer because I know who he is. I don't want to run. It's going to be very hard, and people are scared of people they don't know. And if my children know and my family members know who that officer is, you know, I think that we will become closer as a community and work a whole lot closer to find solutions. Thank you.
Councilman Wheeler?
I would just like to reiterate that I definitely support this police millage and encourage everyone to please get out there and vote. Thank you.
Councilman Benton?
I just want to repeat that I've said it in the past, that I do believe that our policemen definitely deserve a raise, as do our firemen and all of our city employees. And because of that, I'm conflicted, and, you know, I guess I was evasive about whether I would support it or not. And in all honesty, I'm still trying to weigh it out because I have big problems with some of the chief's spending. That's not a secret. I've said it many times. And I have problems with the way that some of these expenses with the budget have been appropriated by the council, taken from the mayor, given to the police chief. So I am still thinking about it, but I do, you know, believe that all of the city employees need raises. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Brusick and the committee, the police committee, I just want to tell you thank you for all your hard work. I think it's emblematic of our citizens stepping up and playing a part in our community, as well as the citizens who come to the meetings, who speak their mind and have things to say. It is getting to be the political silly season. Please, if there are concerns in the community, and if you have a complaint, the only way that we can help you at City Hall is if you tell us. And there's nothing like a paper trail on that, going on an email, report a concern, et cetera, to report it, or call me directly. I'll type it up and document it, send it to you, send it to everybody in the city. I want to personally also commend, I said to Edwin Larcella and our team in maintenance, our recreation department, the amount of work that they do is second to none. I met with the head of the Umpires Association out on our field and at our playground. And he said, Mayor, this is bar none the best field we play on. The head of the Athletic Umpires Association. I also received a call from someone who's over playgrounds in another municipality who frequented our city and goes to our park and said, it's beautiful. I also have visited with all the residents and non-residents who come to our gym on a regular basis. We have basketball teams. I went around the room, and out of the 10 gentlemen that I talked to, 2 of them were from Harahan because they choose to come here. And I asked them, without any of our workers there, how's your service? How do the bathrooms look? How's everything? and they were so pleased. Do we have work and upkeep to do on our short manpower? Yes, we will. Yes, we do. And you just tell us, and we'll do the best that we can to make sure it happens. So on that note, I'd like to just, again, congratulate everyone who works for the city, who does so hard, and a lot of times their efforts don't go so appreciated. I ask everyone to go and exercise your right to vote on April 28th, and now I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Got to pay the bills.
Oh, pay the bills. You always know my flaws.
Bills paid.
Paying the bills.
Bills
We
paid
need to
March,
move that.
$415,646.87.
Thank you. Now.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnson, seconded by Councilman Benton. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. We are adjourned.